What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Hey, I want to share a story today that might not be too exciting. It's hard to explain just how much of a blessing this has been and also how borderline miraculous this has been. But the testimony is one of God's provision, and specifically that He has always provided us with a nanny. And not just a nanny, but with many nannies. When we moved to Arkansas, Beckham was 5 weeks old. Megan was staying at home. And 6 months in, Megan started working part-time, 24 hours, for the majority of her work career, 3 years and change now. It's been a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, full days. And rather than sending our 6-month-old to a daycare, we felt like dream scenario would be, man, if we could have people that we actually personally know and love their character, love who they are, love their just capacity to nurture, if we could have those people investing in Beckham, and then once we had Hudson, investing in them two together, man, that would just be the dream. And it has been not an easy proposition, because I think most people that there's just not it's just not that many amazing people in the world, period. Okay, and if you're an amazing mom, you probably, even if you're a full-time homemaker, have more than enough on your plate making that home, taking care of your own kids. If you do homeschool, all that stuff, it's not necessarily that feasible to just add more to the already existent plate. If you're a college student, you might not feel super confident in your nurturing abilities yet, but even if you did, you're a full-time college student, your schedule changes, and even by the week it can change. I have a test this week or whatever. And if you're out of school, you probably don't want to be a nanny, because even if we could pay you $1,000 a day, emotionally, it doesn't feel like a real job for most people. Now, if you're working at a daycare, that might feel like a real job, but if you're working at, Megan and Jeremy BR household daycare for our own 1 or 2 kids, first it was 1, then it was 2, it just doesn't really feel like a legitimate job. It's difficult to describe on your resume. It feels kind of YOLO-ish. And most people YOLO for something with really high upside, but to YOLO into a nanny role with a specific family, which has an income that's relatively capped by whatever Megan's taking home from her job, it's just not necessarily the most attractive opportunity that you're ever going to get. And so, that being said, every semester, so it's been what, 3 summers, 3 falls, 3 springs, and this is the 4th spring that we're in right now. That's 10 times where what our nanny situation has changed. 10 times. That is crazy. So, whatever our nanny situation is for a given semester, it's not going to be what carries over to the next semester, because everyone's schedules change, people's desires change, etc. And so, and I could, literally, first spring, I'm not even going to remember everything that happened, but at first we had Madeline Jones, shout out MJ, take Beckham in, even though she was, you know, like pregnant and getting more and more pregnant, and already had her own son, Truett. But we would drop Beckham off. She would watch Beckham. That was the first 6 months, and then that summer, after she was had Everly and she was done, nanny for us. Then we moved into the rotation system with, you know, 3 to 4 different people that would generally take this day a week, or the first half Monday and the first half Wednesday, and the second, and like just mixing and matching schedules. And we had lots of different amazing people come in and nanny for us. Many of them we're still super close to, as you would expect. But then the next spring, and so even within the next spring, it was we had persuaded Sarah Johnson, shout out Sarah, to be our one person again, full-time person. I think that was that spring. And then anyways, then there was it was just always different. I'm not even going to try to explain all the people. In total, in 3 years, we've probably had 20 people nanny for us for at least a full day. And those full day nanny subs are clutch because like weather happens, someone gets sick happens, someone has a vacation happens, someone has a stressful school week happens, family crisis happens. All those things have happened, and then we get texts saying, hey, I can't come today, or hey, I can't come this coming week, or whatever it may be. And we just got to figure it out, right? Every parent deals with this probably to some extent. But if you send your kid to a daycare, like the daycare's job is to figure it out, and it's going to be pretty rare. You know, obviously, like COVID too, that was all, bro, we were doing it during that too, okay? That was tricky stuff. Tricky. But anyways, if you have a daycare, like, there might randomly be a day where they're like, hey, flu's breaking out, like, just everyone has to stay home. But like, if one particular worker's not feeling well, like, great, the daycare is going to figure out how to do its own staffing. The families can still send their kids, you know. And so for us, we would have our own family complications where maybe we can't, you know, whatever. But we're also managing this in-house daycare that on any given hour only has one person scheduled to work, you know. And so, anyways, a crazy ride. But even in all those like late, last minute, I can't, whatever, like, there's just always been a way for us to have childcare. Megan's job and my job have some flexibility to them, but in terms of work from home, it's not really like feasible. So like, we can fill in sometimes some amount, but it's really like we're going to make up those work hours later. And so it's not a sustainable, like, oh great, yeah, we'll just do this week. You know, it's like, you know, the hours aren't really there to be able to make up that much time, you know. Anyways, I'm not sure if you're really interested in this story, but we've had a couple different people where it's been their full-time job. We've had a couple different part-time people. We've probably had at least 15 people that were like, and maybe even closer to 20, but probably closer to 15, that it's been like their work, you know, not just a one-day sub type person, but like a they're in all the time type of person. And so, anyways, super thankful for that. That God's provided for us, that we've always had nannies, and not just like had a body. Like, if we didn't care so much about who's investing in our kids, like, we could just send them somewhere, you know. And we probably will send them somewhere at some point. But just these early days, it felt more peaceful. It felt like worth the work to kind of do it in-house. But it's been expensive, and God's provided for us in that way. And it's also been taxing because there's just a lot of unknowns. And every season, even when we couldn't figure out who would possibly be able to fill a need for us, that we know and would want in that role, like God's provided that for us. And so even like having people transition their own work and stuff that previously it wouldn't have even been an option, but now it is, and stuff like that just has fallen into our lap. And all of the people that have nannied for us are like our kids' best friends, like legitimately love all these girls, you know. And so just super thankful for their investment. You know, it's just another way God's provided for us, to just literally the role that they have played in my son's lives. You know, such a gift, and just amazing for them to rub off on our kids and in the best way. And of course for us practically, allowing Megan and I to work and do the things we feel like God's called us to do. Such a blessing. They've also like baked things for us sometimes, or helped us cook dinner or clean our house. You know, just like, man, this is so helpful. So helpful. And anyways, I'm just really thankful for God's provision. And hey, one semester at a time. But right now, guys, it is March, and we know what we're going to do this summer. And it is a change again. There have not been 2 full seasons where it hasn't changed. So we've had a season and a half of the same. We've had a 6-month stretch, but there has always been a transition in what the nanny plan is every spring, summer, fall for 3 years in running now. And it'll change again in the fall compared to what it is in the summer. And we don't know what it's going to be in the fall yet. So just been part of our reality, and we just always been praying into it, and God's always been faithful to provide. So I want to share that testimony with you. If God's called you to do something, He's going to provide. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty neat. Pretty awesome. That's all I got for y'all. Happy Saturday. I'll talk to y'all soon. Life is worship. God is love.